Welcome everyone for today's webinar, which is Credentialing 101, a detailed guide to provider credentialing.
And thank you for everyone attending the class today. I hope that you'll glean some new information and be able to help improve your credentialing process and even be able to learn the credentialing process. So as Michael so kindly said, this is Credentialing 101, a detailed guide to provider credentialing. Just a little bit about me. As he had said, I have over 20 years experience in medical billing, coding, and provider credentialing and contracting. So let's get started. Successful provider credentialing is critical to the financial health of your provider's business. Building a solid foundation for your credentialing process will result in less frustration, minimal financial impact, and faster processing and approvals. Some of the learning objectives for today: when to start credentialing, set up and maintenance of NPPES or your MPI, INA management system, CAQH, and PECOS. How to review, validate, and track provider documents, how to prepare, review, submit, and track payer applications, items to complete once the provider is credentialed and contracted, linking of previously credentialed providers with payers to your tax ID and contracts, and a brief overview of provider revalidations. The credentialing keys to success can be broken down into 4 ways: research, preparation, tracking, and communication. So, how do I start the process of credentialing a provider? So let's get started with your provider research. Part of the research on the provider side is the provider welcome packet. This is a packet I've created that includes some specific information. Continuing on with the welcome package, you're also going to include a provider enrollment information sheet. Continuing on with the provider research, you will also need to obtain the provider logins. And this right here is your CV requirements for credentialing. So that part was the provider research. Now we got to move on to the payer research. The next part of the credentialing process is the preparation. So let's start with the provider documentation preparation. Next, you want to review the provider's CV/resume. So now let's get into NPPES or the MPI, CAQH, Identity and Access Management, and PECOS. This right here is the website, the web link for NPPES. So moving on to the Identity and Access Management System. This is basically the system that houses the login and the keeper of the information. Next is PECOS. This is the system that you use to credential for Medicare. So that sums up the provider documentation preparation. Now let's look into the payer document preparation. So for application preparation, it's vital to complete the payer application with current and accurate information. So let's talk about payer application submissions via email or fax. So application submissions via payer website. So let's go over linking a provider or mid-level to your group. So here's some important information regarding revalidations, recredentialing. Tracking is the single action that can ensure timely, efficient submission and processing of the provider's payer application package. Most importantly, communication. This is the key to successful credentialing across the board with your processing, your providers, everything. The biggest thing you want to do is minimize the impact to the provider and facility. The greatest impact provider credentialing can have on a practice is the financial impact. Some of those steps to minimize financial impact. So once the provider's credentialing is approved, what do you do next? So once you've requested the payer approval information, you'll need to store a physical and digital copy. So for me, I have obviously the digital secure copy, but I also create a master binder. Forms. So like I stated before, included with this webinar are several forms mentioned throughout the presentation. You've got your description of services, provider enrollment, CV requirements, document checklist, so on and so forth. Thank you for coming, and look forward to future webinars.